Fancy lighting makes everything cooler. Don't believe me? If you've seen any music videos in the last 5 years or so, you've undoubtedly seen these lights. They look like long floating fluorescent tubes, and they're called Quasar Science lights. Just the name alone sounds cool, so I wanted to see if I could pick up some of my own, only to find out that they cost upwards of $250 per light. Ouch! So clearly I had to build my own. And I came up with this. It's roughly the same effect as the Quasar tubes. They have a chase effect. I can control it from my phone via Bluetooth, and each light cost a whopping $17. Add another $18 onto that, and you can make a pretty professional looking stand as well. For this project, I made 8 lights, and the total cost for all the materials and equipment came out to around $250. Here's how you get started. Take a trip down to your local hardware store and pick up these T12 sized fluorescent tube guards. At my store, they cost a little under $4 each. You'll also want to pick up some white spray paint. In my experience, the cheaper the better, because we don't want a super thick coat. These cans were $1 and I picked up 2. You can cover about 4 tubes per can. If you want to build stands, swing on over to the PVC fittings aisle. Grab the following pieces: a 4-inch toilet flange, a section of 4-inch pipe, this one is 3 foot tall, and a 4-inch to 2-inch reducer. Finally, grab a 2-inch to 1 1/4 inch reducer. You put it all together like this. The T12 tubes fit perfectly into an 1 1/4 inch opening, so that's where you'll put your finished light. If you feel like securing the PVC together, grab some of this PVC primer and cement to glue the parts together. You may also want to pick up some cheapo black spray paint for your stands. Next, we'll need to order some lights. I picked up some Bluetooth controllable LED light strips from Amazon. I've got a link in the description. It was about $45 for 32 feet, which is the perfect length for 8 4-foot tubes. You can cut your LED strips into segments at the designated cut points on the strip, and then use wiring to string them together. Next, I picked up some bundles of wire and some snap-on connectors to connect the LEDs to the wire. I also picked up a bunch of female and male end plugs for the LEDs, so I could easily connect and disconnect the lights without having to rewire anything. Links are all in the description. One very important thing: LED strip lights come in 2 different types: 4-pin or 4 connector LEDs, and 3-pin or 3 connector LEDs. The lights I used and have linked in the description are the 3-pin type. If you're using a different batch of LEDs, make sure you get the right wire and connectors for the right type of lights. I learned about this the hard way. Next comes painting. You're going to want to give the tubes a light but even coat around the outside of the tube. Make sure you're not spraying too close to prevent dripping from happening, because that will show up on your final product. Pro tip: the stands, or the tops of the stands, make a great holder for the tubes while you're painting them. Once you're done with the tubes, you can paint the stands as well. While you're waiting for the paint to dry, you can wire up the strips. Cut your LEDs into approximately 4-foot strips and grab your connectors. Make sure to pay attention to the direction arrows on the LEDs, as the lights can only receive the proper signal from the controller in one direction. If you're planning a setup for a basement or a venue, keep this in mind for your wire runs. Remove the sticky backing from your LEDs and connect the short end of the crimp connection to the strip, while paying attention to which side, top or bottom, has the 12-volt positive end versus the neutral. They'll be labeled on the strip. Next, connect the end plug to the other side of the crimp connector. Again, make sure you match the cables to the right location. In my case, positive was red, ground was green, and neutral was white. Do this for both sides of the segment, unless it already has a factory connector on one side. Once you finish your wiring, I'd recommend checking your work by plugging each strip into the power source. If you did it correctly, it should light up. You can also check the wrong direction side by plugging it in as well, but the LEDs will just turn on bright white. They won't show the pattern coming from the control box. Remember, that signal is directional. To connect the tubes to each other, I created some extension cables. On the tubes, I specifically wired each end connected to the LED strip with female end connectors. That way, I can make all of my extension cables have male connectors on each side, and they're all interchangeable in terms of direction. I can plug any cable into any tube, and it should work. To make these cables, measure a length of loose wire and separate and strip the ends. You'll want to use a wire stripper here, as it makes the job much easier. Do the same thing with the end connectors, and then twist the matching wires together. I'm using a small wire nut on each cable to protect the connection and prevent it from coming apart. Repeat this for the other end. One other thing to bear in mind is electrical resistance. The 12-volt power supply included is enough to power all 32 feet of the strip, but only if it's all continuously connected. The more length the electricity has to travel, the more it will degrade to the point where it may not power the lights correctly, or at all. If, like me, you've got a bunch of lights strung out across a wide distance with those extension cables, you'll want to pick up a second 12-volt power supply. I got one of them online for about $12, link in the description, and you'll notice at the very end of each LED strip, there'll be what looks like a female power plug. This is to add power for multiple strips, or in our case, additional distance. Since you've made the end plugs on all of your lights interchangeable, you can easily test how far the current will go and add that extra power end tube wherever it's needed in the array. Now that you've got all the wiring prepared, you want to stick your LEDs inside of your tubes. Grab a partner and a measuring tape, some painter's tape, and a long object like a dowel. Extend the measuring tape to a little longer than the length of your pipe and place your LED strip upside down on the tape, the measuring tape. Use painter's tape to secure the ends and then carefully remove the adhesive strip from the bottom of the tape. With a partner's help, carefully run the measuring tape through your tube to the other side. Once the strip is in place, remove the painter's tape, and then you and your partner should grab the strip and pull it taut so it remains in a straight line. Then, move it up and adhere it to the top of the tube. Once it's stuck, remove the measuring tape and flip the tube over so that the LED strip is now on the bottom. If you'd like some extra security, you can use a long object like a dowel to get in there and stick down the middle of the strip. Now that your tubes are ready, just add on the end caps and connect the lights. I drilled a large hole in the back of my stand so it can make connecting the lights a bit easier. Once all the lights are connected, use the included app on your phone to connect to the light's Bluetooth controller and have fun! And that's it! Now you have a bunch of incredible looking lights for filming, live streaming, or having a quarantine dance party in your basement. So, let us know in the comments what you plan on using your lights for. And also, if this video helped you out, or if you want to help support the band and this channel, drop us a buck in our Patreon at patreon.com/Lords of the Trident. You'll get access to exclusive videos, Patreon-only prize packages, and more. And it really, really helps us out by allowing us to do crazy projects like this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.